Sue here. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been before, please like and subscribe. If you've seen my courgette chutney video, you'll know that I had a huge glut of courgettes and that carried on, and I loved my last batch of chutney so much that I decided to make some more. But as the summer is coming to a close, the courgettes are beginning to slow down now, and I'm going to think about taking the plants out and a few more of the plants that have been making summer produce. So before that, I thought I'd challenge myself and see if I can make a 3-course meal for me and my husband purely from what's growing in the garden. I'm going to allow myself one exception, and that is the use of one liquid. But I reckon if I've got courgettes, there's going to be plenty of water in the courgettes. So I've given myself my option of using an olive oil. And that's going to help me with my cooking and also to improve the flavours. So let's have a look and see what we've got in the garden. The blackberries are nearly over now, but there are a few left on here. I'll try not to pick the dock bug with them. I've got this lovely lemon balm, and that's going to pack some more flavour in, along with the oregano that I have, and there's some fennel which has a beautiful aniseedy flavour in the seeds. And although the courgettes are nearly over, there are still quite a few on there. I've got yellow courgettes, and also I have some onions. They've almost got to the point where I can pull them now, so I can pull a few of those. And then I also have these green courgettes. Some of them haven't fertilised properly, but there's a nice one on there. And then I've got these lovely cherry tomatoes on the single plant that I managed to pull through from tomato blight, and I can use those. And then I've got some late cropping strawberries here from plants that I put in June. I've never had strawberries cropping in October before, but there are plenty on there. And then I've got some lettuce leaves. They're mixed leaves that I planted a row of just behind the strawberries. And I've got some leeks, but I didn't really want to use the leeks because I haven't got many and they've only recently started growing, so I'm going to keep those. I've got some chard here. I love the way that the leaves squeak. You can eat the stalks and the leaves, so that's going to be useful. And just down here I've got a small beetroot, which I'm going to use too. I have these lovely chives, and I can use those to put some more flavour in. I also have a last few French beans. They're going to come out, and I'm just going to glean the last French beans from them as I take them out. And then I've got another row of mixed lettuce leaves here. I also found these pears, which were windfalls, and I can definitely use those. All these little chilli plants were from a birthday present I had of a can of grow your own mixed chilies, so I haven't got a clue what any of them are or how hot they are, but this was the first one that's grown, and it's been green for quite some time, so I'm not even sure if it's going to ripen. So I'm going to pick that one and give the plant a chance to grow some more. I may not use it all because I just don't know how hot it's going to be. Husband's not a great fan of chilli in food, so it's only going to give it a little bit of a spicy flavour rather than making it too hot. I've got the lemon balm here, just a few sprigs, and I'm going to infuse the olive oil with a lemon balm flavour, and hopefully that will give a lovely lemony aroma and taste and make a much more exciting and interesting dressing. And I'm just going to cut up the leaves. I've given this a wash. Hopefully by cutting them that will also release some of their scent. Cutting them into just small strips so that when they go on a salad they're just not going to be too overpowering or too much. And of course don't have to use all of them on the salad, it's just really to get the flavour into the oil. Well, we'll see what happens. Didn't want the stalks in the dressing, so just use the leaves. So I've got a few leaves in there now, and I'm just going to put some oil in there. Again, I don't have to use all this oil in the dressing, it's just to give it a bit of a flavour. Let's have a smell. I can smell the lemon balm in there already, it's really coming through. That's my olive oil infusing with my lemon balm. So I'm going to leave that for the rest of the day, and the meal will be an evening meal. So I'll do more preparations later on, and I'll just go out and forage the rest of my vegetables now. As well as my beetroot here, which I've just washed and I'm going to peel it, I've got some chives and I've got my fennel. Now this has turned to seed, and the seeds have a very strong aniseed flavour. If you've never had fennel seeds before, they smell very, very aniseedy. So I'm going to just see if I can get some seeds from this. I won't need many because it's quite a strong flavour, and because it's been growing in the garden it may have some bugs on it, so I'm just going to give those a rinse. I can smell the aniseed coming off that just as I rub the seeds free. It smells lovely. That'll probably do for a salad. Got some fennel seeds there. Just taste one. Very strongly aniseed. Like I said, that's going to pack another flavour in, and I think it goes really nicely with lemon. So lemon and fennel will make a really nice base flavour for my salad dressing. Now I've peeled my beetroot and I'm going to put it in my food processor to grate it. Hopefully I'll get more of these beetroot. They really are nice raw. I'll just turn up that. There's a little bit left over. I might be able to do something with that, and I'm not going to waste what's around the edge here either, as it was only one small beetroot that I had. But look at that, that's quite a lot of nice grated juicy beetroot in there. And just in case you're thinking, gosh, that's an old food processor she's using, you're right. It's a Moulinex Master Chef 65 electronic, and my granddad bought it for me back in the 1980s. It's been a faithful friend, although I don't use it very often. Gosh, it really is foul weather outside, and I've been trying to dodge the rain. And I've picked up some lovely lettuce leaves here, and I picked up some chard, which is going to go in my salad as well. So I'm going to wash that now and wash all the bugs and spiders off it. Some of the chard leaves were a bit too nibbled for my liking, but look at the lovely colour of these stalks. And these are edible. I'm going to use these in my main course, but I'm just going to use a few of the leaves along with the mixed lettuce leaves that I've got. They just look really lush and lovely. The lettuce leaves I've got are a lovely mixture. They contain some reddish colours to them. I've got this reddish frise lettuce. I've got an oak leaf type lettuce. I've got a darker red lettuce. There's quite a lot of cross leaves in here. And then there's this one. I'm not quite sure what that one is, but it's got a tinge of red to it. It's quite a delicate leaf. They go floppy quite quickly, so it's important to use those up as quickly as I can. And here are some of the tomatoes that I got off my tomato plants. They're not quite ripe. They could possibly do with spending another day or so on the windowsill. But I'm going to use the ripest ones in the salad, but save most of them for the main course. Oh, and there's a strawberry. I'll save that for later. Well, the oil has been infusing with the lemon balm, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that in with the beetroot, make it a little bit moist. And those fennel seeds. I've just got a few tomatoes here, which I'm going to just cut in half and pop into there. And we're going to shred the lettuce leaves as well. It doesn't matter too much if there's a bit of a hole in some of them. I've washed all the bugs off, but there are still a few nibbled bits. Because, you know, they like to have a bit of a nibble, don't they, in the garden. Let's take some of the smaller chard leaves. I'll cut the stalks off, I'll save those for later. I'll just shred these the same. Add a little bit of extra flavour. So they've got quite an earthy flavour, these. So they'll go quite nicely with the beetroot. They are in fact exactly the same family, the same plant as beetroot. And this one almost looks like a beetroot leaf in itself. Just put half in one bowl, half in the other. So now we have the lovely beetroot. I hope he's going to like this. Oh, it smells lovely. Put one on there. And I've just got the chives, which I nearly forgot, which I'm going to cut up and snip those on top. Very mild oniony smell. That'll do. There we are, there's my starters, and we'll go and see how they go down. Well, a consensus of opinion was that it was a very refreshing, light starter, and you had little tiny bursts of flavour from the fennel seeds and the lemon balm. But what I wondered was, maybe I would have got a little bit more flavour in if I'd bruised the lemon balm in a pestle and mortar and along with the fennel seeds. So I'm just going to try that now and see whether that produced a more pungent aroma in the oil. I'm not going to even cut them up as I would have done in the salad dressing, just to bruise them. It's just an experiment to see how much flavour I could extract from that in a quicker period of time. I'll put the fennel seeds in there as well, and a little bit of oil. This is a very tiny pestle and mortar. It's made of olive wood as well, and if you're interested in getting an olive wood pestle and mortar, I can put a link in the description to a very good company that produces lovely olive wood products. So I'm just bruising the leaves and crushing the fennel seeds as best I can, and it hasn't really broken anything up, but I'm just going to give it a sniff now. Oh yeah, that's coming through now, so I can smell the lemony flavour within the olive oil, and I think that would be a quicker way of making an infused olive oil if you haven't got so much time. I do hope you enjoyed watching me make the starter. For my next course, I'm going to get a little bit more spiced up. That'll be in the next video, so do come back and watch that. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye!